Hello, good evening, everyone. Today's date is the time now is 10:40 a.m. The date is now 23rd of January 26. I will be. I'm just gonna be introducing one key feature. So let me just get my drink. Um, so I've outlined the first video that we talk about symbolic intent, symbolic expression, symbolic intent, and symbolic. If you go to dev.to/O for Oscar, B for Bravo, I for Indigo, N for November, E for Echo, X for X-ray, U for Umbrella, S for Sarah, you look at the three-layer interpretation for yes, no, and maybe, called a symbolic interpreter. It has three interpretations, outputs for every three thing. Um, A symbolic interpreter is an interpreter. Is a compiler system. Is a compiler that interprets. It's a compiler. It's a compiler that transfers machine code. Symbolic files, like a Rift material files are symbolic, have symbolic intent, but it's a really important source of a compiler will take a Rift file, which is a stage-bound riff file, stage 1 to 6, and which work on tokenization, parsing, and AST, after single generation, which will give you a target individual resolution code for platforms such as Windows, Mac, and Linux. Then you got stage 0, 1, and 2. Stage 0 is tokenizer, stage bound tokenizer, and which includes stages of stage 000, which is like a 00000, which would mean that the tokenizer is passed. If you got the coding 001, basically they work in code, they work in dynamic table of encoding to resolve via Rift interdependency. So the really easy is you get like a 000, which means you have not even started the project. You got 001 means you are actually 001 means you're at tokenizer stage 1, but you're having the unit test, you're running tokenizer, you're now at tokenizer stage 1, but you started tokenizing the characters within Rift, regular expression stick that for C standards, C++, and C Sharp. And that's the part. So you have passed the system of tested. But here's the present system because you got 011. You now have a full unit test, integration test, or they can run integration model. So you have an artifact. So using the tomographic system works in using interdependency. If you go to unit model, which is just one piece of one C executable, and you go to a package, which is the 1 1. So you go 011, you have a tokenizer that's a dynamic package with the Rift tokenizer systems. So that's called the interdependency connection. So 011 would mean you are working on a tokenizer, or 021 would mean you have a packageable tokenizer that's failed, that may or may not have failed stage 1. But stage 1 is basically the tokenizer and then a parser. So 022 would mean you are at the parser stage completely. You can now ship this artifact. And 011 you can ship the tokenizer out of the system. And the system will recognize when you download it via the Rift in the interdependency system. But today's video is a symbolic statement of symbolic interpretation system of yes, no, and maybe. Because it's basically a consensus matrix that resolves via need, not a want. So consensus means you need it, you don't want it. So you have to hold consensus, accountable. Hold no one accountable for your consensus, or no system accountable. That's the very positive of the symbolic intent files. So, a symbolic intent files is basically a file, so an artifact that holds your human dignity via the. But it's a proven artifact. Things that say I love to hate binary systems. I love to hate. What does this mean? It addresses epistemic uncertainty dilemmas, which are reasoning dilemmas. The humans mean, the human can meaning, and things that human doesn't make any, so the goal of this is to have a system that doesn't use they use mathematics to resolve systems of linear equation. Try to see start trying system of linear equations and resolve them in the reality of defining each terminology systematically. Applications include, in a video game, you can have multiple dialogues per one chapter, and those still allow the story to flow more naturally for the intake of a human being. So because I get bored as a new developed person seeing the same characters pop up every time I say the same character text pop up, dialogue pop up when I read some kind of game. Doesn't matter if it's a star shooting game or a football game, or Pokemon Go. The dialogue is very boring. So I want to excite you guys by introducing you to symbolic intent files, or SIF files, or symbolic statement files. But the goal of this is to have a system resolve symbolic statements, which are true, yes, no, and maybe, symbolic expression, true expression for three intent, that resolve the expression of the model was part of the active stale system, which means the active and the sparse, which means you can model it anyhow you want it to be modeled, still be what either data structure or data type. So they'll still resolve the expression of the object model instead of what you're trying to send via a statement. A statement is true or false. A statement is true or false. Expression has a meaning, but it can result to true and false, depending on the pointers that anchor the dimensions of breathing, living, and working. So it is never optional. So breathing. So this is the example here. Welcome. So you got a simple. So another example of this is basically if you have a muco hand system, and all the hand system has some kind of gesture. The gesture of the hand that has to preserve across all layers of moving your hand. Can say to people whether you're low or not. The goal of this is to have your hand signals move, your hand fingers move around. You can have some kind of some kind of gesture that all hands have to create. That are authentic, that are real. There's no fake hand. If the video is not gonna allow you to log in because it's a video file, so it's gonna watch your kind of the natural rhythm of the air around you to ensure that dimension is protected. And if it's a video file, so if I'm moving my hands, if I'm moving hello right now, the intent files will ensure that my hands are not a video file, and this breeze is natural. It's not natural. And this video, when it gets uploaded, will not be a video of someone coming hands in. So the goal of this intent systems is to have a symbolic statement file that's SSF, and the symbolic expression file SEF, and symbolic file SIF. But just one system. So all you need is you don't need all the three files. You just SIF. Which is symbolic intent file. The SEF are not needed. They're not needed. All that's needed is the symbolic intent file. And intent dictates the trident rules of symbolic what you're trying to express. And the system must hold that to the negative one access to the system until you decide it's basically what you mean. Because it's basically a trident model of human-centric development. So the video I'm recording will ensure that it's an authentic video and it's not going to be inputted, taking my hand and logging. Nucor has a hand logging system. So the first problem I've identified is the hand logging system. So because we have what I call seismic gestures which we have when we throw our hands randomly, and this matter how we throw them, we are speaking from our voice, and this is all body language. So we have gestures with our hand, we use your hand. This gesture called hand language. So you can start making it easy to make sounds like the peace sign, the okay sign. They start to give you meaning, and they start to look at what it means. So he just doesn't get it. He just knows what it's doing. I am proud to invent this because breathing and living are two. Breathing is breathing. When you're breathing air, you're not living. And when you're living, you're not breathing. You're not just breathing. You're not just breathing air. When you're working, you're not living. And you're never living. You're either working or never living. Because the dimension grows by by a power of two. And this file ensure that the dimension that grows as you grow, as you get older and gain more the of blood, sweat, and tears, you are not overworking yourself. You're not sweating, and you still have blood. So you're not sweating for no reason, and you still have blood because the intent file make sure you have a symbolic SIF. Your intent is protected, and you're not bleeding, sweating, and working. Breathing is never optional. So I got a Venn diagram. We can complete the video over here. A Venn diagram here. Let me just try and complete it before I upload the video. So, so breathing and being alive is not optional. We call living, and the living is life is never is not optional, and and work is optional. Work is optional. If you think of this as this, these are the actually these are just dimensions of work, breathing and living and work. The mention of a living, breathing is not optional. So this has to be negative one. This is how it is for you to log it. This is a no lock system, no lock out system. Cannot lock you out of the dimension of breathing and living, and working. And living and working. Doesn't matter how powerful the computer is. You know, it's not matter if the hardware breaks. You know, this system will need to recover whatever the user holds in that space at that time. You know, it doesn't matter if the mind upload or not. It wants to hold that space at that time and define this from this. Okay, this is a Venn diagram. As you can see, this is a Venn diagram. And the Venn diagram and the Venn diagram prioritizes breathing and being alive, which is living. And living life is not optional because breathing and living are one. But that means that because living is not breathing, alive, and living. And if when you're breathing, you're alive. When you're alive, you know you're breathing. And when you're living, you're not working. When you're working, you're not living. So that's the dimension of struggle for bread level. So you must have a negative one pointer allocated, a negative one or a negative one pointer for the dimensions of dimensional scale. The map negative one, negative one, negative one unit that holds what the details. This is what a person is living, working, living, working, and similar to the files must ensure that the intent of the users as macros are anchored before the user starts writing the code. Because anchor is anchored to the system, and so it just loads up that system file. It's basically for survival, being survival is not optional because for each division of the concept modeling of the verb noun concept modeling. Now, the verb noun concept modeling is the verb like OBI mean heart or soul, and nexus means to connect. The verb to is an action, and the action or the intended is an intent. So the verb noun is basically a programmable artifact of verb to noun mapping, which is turn an action. So to run, to do the intent of a system. So to unclassified concepts in this kind of categories of breath, life, and work. Or what actions are. The work of natural language, and the natural language is formal enough. This is formal enough to formalize in a system that is as rigid as binary. Last but not least, so we prioritize intent files over AI systems. If this is automatically, you can get the AI file to write the intent file, but you go together the system solidly, not break the rules of the framework of symbolic intent. The UAI, over Oscar, which is the UAI will be the system repository, or GitHub or the com. So I will not be, for example, I will never be what sought to break me. Sought to break me, to break me. You can see that this system is very this word is very this letters are very deeply meaningful in emotional weight. So this can be parsed by a symbolic intent file. Yes, this can be parsed by symbolic and executed, and you can have several meanings. So this is one interpretation. This one was Mr. OBI, Mr. How to say, if Mr. Hart say this, Mr. OBI says this, Mr. Ezra will say, the king will say, you will never break me. You will never break me. Break me. Because Ezra is a soldier and a king, and Uche will say, we say, Ezra is the king, which is the knowledge person, is a scientist. Uche will say, I will not give him, I will never give in to the likes of you. To the likes of you. To the likes of you. You being the you as a Y or you, not you as in us. So these are three valid expressions that can be the map. So OBI is how to say, I will never be what sort to break me. As will say, you will never break me, and then which will say, I will never give in to the likes of you. Give in to the likes of you. And those are the three examples we're given. So these are three pointers to this data, and they'll have to resolve demographically because the words are not topologically. The word with an error. So, for example, I, who's speaking, who's saying stuff. Basically, this is how they also who's saying stuff. This is how each of the individuals will respond authentically. But this is what the problem is. It still addresses the problem of yes, no, and maybe. Because this is what they said, and this is what the maybe was. So this is a good example of a system. So, for example, the pointer of this will be OBE, OBU. This is OB, EBU. So the goal is to have e-flow for one chunk as a book. Because, I'm telling you, this things contain dialogue. So you can have the mappings of the word like I will conjugate. I person. I meaning like a me myself and I me, myself, and I pointers. I, who's I? Me, myself, and I. Or this is the code self. The word for them. Subject. So I am the subject. Subject. So the goal of this is to have them have. So I is the subject. So it means the term I, you, and you are you and we, me. Those are subjects. Who's being addressed there? And Uche, these are subjects that are being addressed. Let's call them indirect subjects. And you get direct subjects, which are Obi, Eze, and Uche, which is me, myself, and I. In that framework of the tripolar, being tripolar. So you get Obi, which is we OBI says again, I will not be also to bring me. So he's doing understand that this is mappable to the target language of being the system of linear equations to the subject. So we, we, you, we, you. So you get two I's Y-O-U. So you get we, I-U. And this is a subject. What's being addressed? Direct subjects. Direct subjects. I'm saying that to not indirect subjects. You get you will never, which are like never being a native word. But you get the kind of verb. So you're looking for things that call adjectives, adverbs. You're looking for statements, which are like a statement that has a short sentence a short sentence which has I will go now. But this have a close in an and, so I will never. This is like a joint sentence, like a conjoined sentence. You can see a sentence that is but you go to use analytic frame of sentence like analytic frame of this is the how we look up sentence of short, simple as simple, short, and simple, short, and compound and complex sentences. To dictate a system of as a formula. You go short sentences, which means the there we are, there we go, which is a short. Then we go to a simple sentence, which is I love cats, I love cats. And say, there we go. I looked at both simple and short sentences. There's no difference, but the goal is, but this the simple sentences, the simple sentences also have the only difference, the only difference between sorry, the only difference is that I guess that there's more the simple sentence addresses the subject. I love cats, and the cat is what is the noun of the system. So that's what it is. That's the difference between simple and short. This is the first and simple sentence is second one is short sentence. So I love cats or cats. So and then the medium one will be the compound one will be a conjugate of I love I will never put open I will never open the umbrella uh, indoors because or as because we give a reason, but this is because we give you a reason, a clause. So this is because it is unlucky. But this is just one student. But this is because we replace by like a thing of a single color. So you can see as it is unlucky, as they say, the goal of this is to have some as as we find. So this is basically what I'm saying. So as as we are unlucky, you have to make it make sense. So as as unlucky as we are unlucky, as it is unlucky, as is, you can have the thing backwards. So you have an independent. So a compound has a system has a dependent clause and an independent clause, but you can use you don't have to use the difference between some compound sentences and a simple sentence is just the clauses. So you can have two type of compound sentences. So you can have a token in between it, which is a semicolon, or you can have a conjunction, which is like an and. Thus, but which is the word. It's not a symbol. It's a word. It's not a token. Basically, that's a go. That's how language is formed. So I'm going to make that one. So you can have another word. Um, um, uh, there's no. You can have it in any tense. Because it allows you to give you a tense. You can have the future, past, and present. Yeah. So let me use the past. Last Christmas. Last Christmas. Comma. Last Christmas, there was, there was tons of rabbits, uh, who, rabbits and rabbits, yes, rabbits, and this is to rabbit because uh, it was extremely cold. I have a colon here, a semicolon, which means it was extremely cold, semicolon. So last Christmas there was there was lots, tons of rabbits. Semicolon. It was because no, it was extremely cold. Because it was extremely cold. But the colon is literally semicolon is here. I can see the semicolon here, and that's like it was extremely cold. So that's what just shows you this is a compound sentence. You can replace it with any tense you can. You can make this feel. You can change this into the whole tense of this system. But like this Christmas, or something, or this Christmas. Let's say like this Christmas, which is this Christmas, which has not come yet. But this Christmas, you can see all the animals there. So you can make this past, present, future, which are dimensions of the language. So you have to think about what you're going to say before you can say it. So that's the problem of past, future, and present resolution. So you go to compound sentences, we use and because something like thus what's it thus there was there was a hero and she was very beautiful and she was very beautiful. But a hero, there was a hairiness, hero, and she was beautiful. The hero is a man, but all heroes, all heroines are men. So he said there was a hero, and she was very beautiful. And this reason and makes it a story of So this is how it used to work. And you can separate the and. You can just put the two independent. You can put either one dependent sentences into an independent sentence, but the closest to match just to make sense. You can't put two dependent sentences, independent sentences that depend on different terms and different. So we can put one independent with one dependent. You can put it anyhow you want, like in a heterogeneous order, heterogeneous homogeneous order. So from the for the dependency of the system to work. So that's what I say. You have to put them in a one way or the other. Doesn't matter how long it is or how fast how you're saying it. You must put them in one way or the other. So you got a complex sentence, which is like the ones that people really struggle with. So you got a compound sentences, and the complex sentences are conjoined. They have depend. I made this one up. They have independent system. So you have a one dependent system. Something you get expressed at the end of the system or the beginning. You have to have two independent. So this is a long sentence. I just think of a lot of you got a long sentence, but you go to two dependent, independent systems, and basically like listen about this year. This, at Valentine's Day, which is one dependent. This is dependent. At Valentine's Day, I what is it? The guy that shoots bows and arrows. What's his name? Cupid. Cupid. Cupid shot. Cupid fired his bow. His bow an arrow at me and my at me and my crush. I was gobsmacked. I was heartstruck. I was heartstruck. So basically, you just said so you got two dependent. So you get in the so this is you call it so at Valentine's Day, Cupid Cupid fired his bow and arrow at me and my girlfriend. We were heartstruck. We were heartstruck. We were heartstruck. So this is really the one bit on the best because this is what I made this into complex sentence, but this allows me to put more information and give one objective point out. This is how my sentences are structured. So the goal of this sentence, as you can see here, at Valentine's Day, at Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day is just a dependent, dependent, dependent some kind of term. So what happened on Valentine's Day? You have to put a comma there, Uh, 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 Cupid fired his bow and arrow, his bow with arrows, with his bow with arrows. Sorry guys, his bows with arrows. As me and my crush. Yes, that's just one independent sentence. And so you have two independent sentences and one independent sentence. So two dependent, one independent. As me and my crush, we were gobsmacked. We were heart struck. So he struck our heart. He struck our heart with his arrows. So that is one thing. So basically, I just come up to you get to think about structure. This is a complex sentence. I made this sentence as I made this when I was like a child, but this is not the one I made. This is a different one. But I made this. This is how you used to write clearly. Because it gives you the point, which is the heart struck. I was shot by Cupid. Me and Cupid was shot by bow and arrow, and it gives you kind of pronoun. So everything has to have a structure of the dimension, the word definition, and how someone is defined clearly, and explain the rules of non-rigidity. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you guys. Those were the symbolic intent files, and this is what it means to have a symbolic interpreter. It maps onto a natural language of the way this language is spoken. Whether in CBD or English or French, there's some kind of meaning you can semiotic meaning you can draw from all the languages and the meaning of the system that is already there in the first place. Okay, thank you guys.